Are Asian women better than American women? In 2008, if that question was asked to me, I would have said, yes. I had a true case of yellow fever. I was caught up in a Filipina for 4 years, $20,000, 4 years, and three flights back and forth to Asia, flight to the Philippines later. It was a total waste of time. It is now 2024. You look at social media and you look at Filipino women, you look at Asian women, you look at Thai women, very hard, very difficult to find good women in the social media world. I remember in the early days of Yahoo Messenger and Skype and Facebook and the world of Filipinas, many of them clamoring to, do you have a cam, turning on their cam and lifting their shirts and all that. And that is no more. You want to see them naked? Money, money, pesos, baby. I don't engage in that. They are not the same as they were years ago. Years ago, they were desperate to find a man to lift them out of their poverty and come to America. Not all Filipinos are like this, but I would say the bulk vast majority of Asian women today are looking for a ticket out of their miserable whatever. Don't be fooled. There are still women in this culture that are good. It's hard to find, but they're there. I see Asian women that move to the US become just like American women, wearing the sports bras, the sportswear, dump their husbands after they get here. They have 3 or 4 children, and suddenly the magic is gone. They want to be loved, but then you got to raise her children that are fathered by somebody else. I remember when I was in Hong Kong, I used a term called Hello Kitty girls. Chinese ladies that were all into Hello Kitty stuff, very materialistic, shop till you drop. Why would we covet them any more than the American women that shop till they drop and gotta be addicted to Starbucks, SUVs, dogs, and all that? They're both one and the same. Women that live with this ridiculous sense that I have to have a dog, I have to have stuff, is not worthy of a relationship with us. I believe that most women today carry within them lesbian desires, or they could be turned easily into that. I don't care, honestly. I really don't. I'm a man. Sometimes it's fun to look at the scintillating relationship of two women. Fascinating. It is dangerous to marry in the United States today, but it's equally dangerous to go to the Philippines and marry somebody. A lot of Filipinos are very immature. A lot of them get very angry. They hold a grudge. And the word tampos comes to mind. So when a Filipino woman gets mad at you and she doesn't speak to you, oh, she wants to get on cam and see you, but she's irritated and she wants you to see that. She wants to make you feel bad. And when you men don't submit to that, it really, really bothers her. I remember when I was married to Beth in Hong Kong, she would sit there and scold and yell over absolutely nothing. And I turned around and started laughing hysterically. And she goes, "That's not funny." And I laughed even harder. And I kept laughing so hard that after half an hour of this, she finally said, "Wow, what is so funny?" I said, "You." We men have been moved by our hearts. I no longer look for true love. I'm somewhat calloused. I don't know if it exists in the matrimonial sense. I tend to look at women, if you can have a positive relationship with a woman, Last night, I have a female friend that I've been teaching her how to play pool. Last night, she stepped up to the plate and played a mean game and won against somebody else at the club we went to. I said, "Your shooting is getting better. You're doing much better." And I noticed something. When I'm with her, other women gravitate. Two lesbians asked if they could play pool with us, and we did. The other night, a Tom girl came up and says, "Man, can I join you guys? Can I play?" I said, "Yeah." Unfortunately, our game that we were finishing up, or the game that she and another were finishing up, was taking too long, and she eventually wandered off. But it is an interesting dynamic, man. When you're with somebody, even if she's not your girlfriend, it tends to attract other women. I don't know why that is. Another dynamic I've noticed with women, whether it's in the Philippines or in the United States, when you're involved with somebody, other women come up and take notice. I remember when I went to see Panda in 2018 in the Philippines, and myself, her niece and nephew, and her brother and her brother's girlfriend, Karen, came with us. We went down to the Mall of Asia and we walked across the breeze over to the Bay of Manila. And they've got a Ferris wheel that's very high, bumper cars, and love locks where everybody put their padlock on the fence, rusted by the salt air, forever to be stuck there because the key was tossed into the sea. And I was sitting on the seawall enjoying a pleasant day by the ocean, and Karen sidles up to me, a very pretty Filipina. "Oh, Michael," and starts talking to me. And I can't help but notice how pretty she is. I'm looking, I don't act out of character. She's asking me about my country. I'm asking her. And Panda's sitting off on a bench with her arms folded and clearly tampos. And I walk over and say, "What's wrong?" She goes, "Oh, you like talking to her?" I said, "Man, she came over and talked to me." I said, "You walked away. Why didn't you just sit next to me?" And I said, I said, "I don't know why you're getting mad." I said, "This is your brother's girlfriend, and she is getting absolutely no conversation out of him. And she and I are talking about our respective countries. We're not hitting on each other." But at the same time, I could sense that she was making eyes at me. It's like the old saying, when you're surrounded by sameness, when you have TV dinner all the time and you suddenly sink your teeth into sirloin steak and five-star chef dinners, TV dinners will start to look boring. And I found this dynamic true. In 2018, I went to the San Juan market in Pinturan, and there was a Filipina as tall as me, beautifully put together. She was a security guard, armed with a gun, the black pants, the blue button-up shirt. And I remember I walked in with Panda, and she checks us and she feels you and pats you down to make sure you don't have weapons. And she immediately smiled. "Are you from America?" And she was bold. One day I went to the market while Gloria was showering. I said, "I'm going to go get my chips. You're going to be all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm just going to walk over to San Juan's and get them." And I had this love and addiction to Oishi, the Filipino chips that were salt and vinegar chips. They were very good and addicting. And the lady was busy when I walked into the store, but when I came back out, she literally felt me up. "Hey, how do you like the Philippines?" She did not care that I was with somebody. There was no doubt that if she could have an intimate moment with me, she would have ravished it. Don't think as a man I didn't feel the urge. The problem with the Philippines is the same problem I had in Hong Kong. It'd be very hard to be morally pure within. So many pretty women would be clamoring for my attention because over there, they're not like the only difference between American women and Philippine women is Philippine women, once they hit 25, are largely ignored by males. The Filipinos want them young or no deal. So they're on the auction block. You can have a 40, 50-year-old woman here with an attitude, thinks she's all that on a stick, and she can still get a date. Whereas over there, no. And they see somebody like me, slender and in good shape for my age, and they're like, wow, he nice and he don't drink or smoke. Oh, Michael could get lost in many nights of ravishing, beautiful Philippine women. I even told Panda when I got back, I said, the security guard felt me up walking out of the store. She laughed. She goes, yeah, she just want to touch you. I said, I know. Do you like her? I said, of course, she's pretty. You come back to America and reality hits you like a freight train. Yeah, we've got a problem with American women. Feminism is the cancer that has infected them from stem to stern. The sense of entitlement. Women get away with far more in the workplace, divorce courts, and on the streets of this country than men ever will. Women complain there's not equality. They're correct. Men are getting beat the hell up by women and their BS. I just went through something at work with a black female who's overweight, looks like a greasy, sweaty mess, and no class, no quality about her, violating company rules. And I went to my black female boss and I said, can I please be removed from working with her? And she honored that. She would sit there and make comments about me to others. And another employee, a black lady, came to me and said, she's talking shit about you. I said, really? I said, that's funny. I tried to serve her and do my job well. And she goes, oh, she don't care. But guess what? She's married to a man who will spoil her pants off. And that's why women are like this over here, because sometimes in black culture, men don't have taste in women. They like overweight, cellulite, ripples. Many of these women, you can't find their vagina. Their boobs have no definition or form. They don't shave their underarms. And they think they're all that. It's sad. I look at videos of women in Africa. I was just looking at one this morning on YouTube. So two young African ladies in the village, topless, clean and smooth under here, slender and absolutely beautiful. I thought, if you want a black woman, go to Kenya, go to Zambia. There's a tribe over there. And now the Himba tribe. The Himba women are interesting. They put a lot of red dirt and clay in their hair. They don't use water to bathe. They believe in being clean and smelling good. The Himba women are beautiful. And if I, as a foreigner, were to go to the Himba tribe and I was to be kind to them, the leader of the tribe would give me his wife to sleep with. And I would politely say, not your wife. Let me have one of these young ladies that's single. I thought about that. If I had the money and I had the time, I would go dwell amongst a tribe like that for a year just to see how they live. It'd be a total change for me. But I got to be honest, there's something provocative about that, something that just has an air of adventure to be out there primitive, to learn how to live in a way Americans have no concept of, literally off the land as a nomadic people, and to have a pretty woman touching me and loving on me that doesn't wear a shirt most of the time. I would say that'd be a pretty good life to live. You come to the US and you have African American women that are slender and pretty with an uppity, horribly awful, atrocious attitude. And then you have African American women that are big, very big. I've had several African American women since I've been here come on to me that were not attractive. One pressed me and said, why won't you go out with me? I said, man, we're just friends. She pressed and pressed. I said, okay, if I tell you, you're not going to get mad. No, I asked you. I said, I'm not into big women. Why? You got a problem with that? There's more of us to love. I said, different strokes for different folks. Even me as a man, I'm not going to look somebody in the eye and say, because you're an FATPIG, I'm not going to do that. I try to use tact. I try to be kind and considerate. But if a woman presses me, I'm going to say, because I don't want to go out with you. I'm not into 6 inches of underarm hair. I'm not into big booties. And you look at women here where I live, a black woman walked in, she had a huge bubble butt, narrow stomach. I mean, bumps in all the weird places. She had this big giant head of hair. I mean, she could barely walk in the door, had her drink, and she walked out of there clomping in her boots, walking through there like she was some Queen Latifah. I was like, nah. I asked my female friend, I said, do you think that that's hot? No, I don't. But guess what? There's men that do. And thank God for that. Different strokes for different folks. But back to the Philippines and back to Asia. I just watched a video and I posted earlier this morning that a man married a Chinese woman and just about had his life destroyed by her. And I will tell you something, stay away from Chinese women. They're not very nice. And even when I was in Hong Kong, I noticed the Filipinas are more sing song. They like to sing and be happy. Sometimes there's an immaturity there. They just want to feel good all the time. Contrasted to a Chinese culture that's a little more cerebral, a little more intellectual. I found Chinese women very stimulating intellectually to talk to. I sat down at dinner one night with a retired Chinese university professor, still attractive, nice woman, and she was telling me about Hong Kong culture. We had a very good discussion. We were eating our food. I did not know her. We talked, and I said, you know what? It was nice to meet you. She was telling me how Hong Kong men that are into finance have their wife in Hong Kong and then they have a mistress in Shanghai or Beijing. And you begin to learn that no matter where you go, people really are the same. There's differences, but people are the same. Human nature, the ugliness of it. There's Filipinas that are attention getters. There's a woman that goes to the club I attend, and she's young. She's what I call a slut tease. She has no interest in dating anybody, but she likes to video herself and stand on the stage and do this with her skimpy attire. And if a man moves next to her to dance, she immediately moves away. She's just there to worship her own narcissism. My female friend said that. She goes, she is definitely self centered. No one likes self centered women except men that are drunk on lust. Are Asian women any better? I used to say yes. No, they're not. They get over here, they dye their hair. They can't accept their nice, beautiful black Asian hair. They got to dye their hair blonde. They start buying into the American concept, and suddenly their sweet Asianness has vanished, totally vanished. And there's nothing Asian about them anymore but their bloodline. No offense, women, but I don't want to date or marry or be involved with a manufactured factory product. I like a woman who keeps her natural hair color. I like a woman that dresses somewhat sexy. I like a woman who lets her real beauty and the way she was made by God to just shine. I don't like somebody who climbed out of a makeup closet. And I see Filipinas here that do that. There's one in my job that I see Monday through Friday, and she is beautiful, but she wears all the Hurley sportswear, the skin tight neoprene. Yeah, I was just working out. 3 small kids, 2, 4, and 8, or 2, 4, and 6, all in tow. I'd asked her about a truck she had sitting in the yard. I said, what's the story with that Ford over there? She goes, Oh, I'm going to sell it. I said, does it run? She goes, no, but I think it just needs a battery. And I said, can you tell me anything about it? I said, does it have a title? No, but I'm going to get a title for it. So I started out today. I said, what does your husband do? She goes, oh, he's no more. No, he's no more. Yep. Got to the USA. He was Korean and black mix. They're gone from each other. And guess who got the house and the truck and stuff sitting in the yard? She did. Be very careful, men. Be very careful. There are many advantages to being single. Number one, chief among them is saving money. I can save money. I had some big trees cut down around my house. I've been able to work on my house more. I'm going to try to get a tractor soon and or get somebody with a tractor and pay him to do a drainage basin in part of my backyard. We had 9 inches of rain in June and the rain floods the backyard. And I thought, you know what? We need to find a giant. We need to have a sump. Hauling dirt in wouldn't be the answer. To get rid of more dirt and dig a drainage trough and smooth it out, like they do at the businesses. But no manhole or storm drain. Just dig it down enough where water comes down, it can all funnel in there, make a little lake, and it can evaporate and drain as it needs to into soil. One thing nice about working on my house is God has allowed me to expand my brain's ability to come up with solutions. And that's been very productive. You get with women today, they're home wreckers. They dominate. They cost and cost and cost. A woman I work with, an overweight, obnoxious, very in love with herself and her 1 ounce of power black woman that thinks she's all that on a stick says, did you say you have your thermostat at 68? I say, yes, I do. Well, I tried that. And oh, hell no. I said, okay, so how much is your heating bill? Well, $500 a month. Her husband makes way more than her. And she goes, no, I'm not going to be cold. It's called put on a sweater or put another blanket on your bed. Oh, no. Same thing. They run their air conditioner out here at 72 degrees. For those of you that don't live in the South, you do not put your AC at 72 in the South. Even if your home is insulated, that unit out there on the pad will run and run and run and run because it will never get to temperature. So the thermostat says you got it set at 72, but the house temperature is 75, 74. Guess what? There goes all your money pissed away in electricity. I set mine at 79, a little warm, but it cools it down enough. And my bill is under $100 a month for a 2,100 square foot house. Women, I have a roommate and a friend now, and she is thrifty. She saves, she's disciplined. Very rare to meet a female like that. She is fiscally conservative. She has all of her ducks in a row. And she's Caucasian. Filipinas burned through money like that. When I was involved with Beth, she couldn't manage her money. She just spent it on crap. And many Asian women I know, they just like American women. They want to be wined and dined and entertained. Beth used to tell me, yeah, when we married, the husband in the Philippine culture give me the whole check. I said, in America, I don't give you any of the check. I pay the bills and I'll give you an allowance. Why you do that if you love me? I said, if you love me, you'll submit to me as the head of the house and let me take care of the finances like I've been doing, because you will waste it all, blow it all out your butt cheeks. She didn't like that. Men, when you stand on the truth, that is the quickest way to separate the women from the girls. Because girls will walk away from you. Real women will admire, respect. Wow, you're smart. You're saving money. You try to do your projects little by little. You try to get ahead. I like that. But women live for the moment. They live for the emotional euphoria of everything revolves around them. The distance run is where the prize is, not the 110-yard dash. Asian women are beautiful. I think Japanese women are the most beautiful out there, but it's very rare to see a Japanese woman with a Caucasian male. Japanese culture, though it is fascinating and inviting, is a very closed culture. They do not allow immigration, and I totally support them for that. But I'm not going to go to Japan and have a Japanese girl fall in love and marry me. If you want to pay money for Japanese showgirls, you can do that. But to find a woman to fall in love with you and bring her into Japanese culture, nah. There are some Japanese women that sadly, when I was married to a horrible marriage of 14 years, I had a Japanese hairstylist come on to me. I remember when I was in my 20s, there was a Japanese gal that went to the Calvary Chapel I went to in Arizona, and she was hitting on me, and I was too dumb to see it. I should have seized that then and might have had a good marriage. But instead, I wasn't focused on the Japanese innocent. She was a plain Jane, but she was pretty. I was focused on the blonde in our young adult group who was, at that time, I didn't see it. She was a stuck up narcissist and attention WHORE. If you want to marry a Japanese woman, you'll have to find somebody who's single in the US. You never see Japanese women on dating sites looking for American men. Let that sink in, men. I was too dumb. Look at all these Filipinas. Look at all these Filipinos trying to get out of their bad circumstances, and they are opportunists and they will do whatever they can to get out of poverty and have the good life that they think they'll have over here. When Filipino women get caught up in dogs and Starbucks and the crap, it isn't long for them to be corrupted. Sometimes I look at some tomboy girls and they're actually very beautiful. All these women covered in makeup and ugly clothing and dyeing their hair. There's no passion. There's nothing to desire there. And you see African American women, many of them do not accept their natural hair, and most of them don't even show real hair, but wigs, extensions, and weaves and braids. And how'd you like to run your fingers through that, guys? A lot of grease up in there, a lot of mess up in there. I look at African women and they're stunning. They're remarkably more slender than African American women. They have a knowledge of 2 or 3 languages. They seem to know how to cook and to treat people pretty well. And I am saying that you could potentially meet a good African woman overseas who would love you and be sweet on you. I have a friend in Thailand. I've had her on social media for 5 years. She's a plain Jane working woman. She says guys don't show interest in her. She's beautiful, but she doesn't have the face with all the makeup. She's got a pretty face. She's got beautiful waist length black hair. She's muscular. She's more smaller chested. She's stunning. But men over there have no interest in an older Thai woman. No one's going to marry her in that culture. No one. But most Thai women are stuck up. Look at their Facebook holding alcohol, leaning against a car that is not theirs. In every pretty woman, there's a goddess complex. Don't kid yourself. The nightclub I go to, one of the bartenders is a white woman. She's beautiful. She's in her 40s. She looks good. She always gives me a full-on frontal hug. I kiss her on the ear, kiss her on the cheek. She's down to earth. She's got a southern accent, and she's very nice. And when I meet Asians here, they're Americanized. They're not good. And I've swung around. I'd rather date a white female than these Hello Kitty, materialistic, stuck up, attention getting Asian gals. It's sad to say, folks, but women have changed around the world. Be very careful about India women. Some of them are beautiful, but many of them don't shave under here, and you can smell some really unpleasant underarm funk. Not to mention, they can be bossy, pushy, and yell and get up in your face. India is seeing a huge surge in lesbianism. When I was in Hong Kong back in 2009-10, I read the Hong Kong Daily Standard said that India women are slapping their husbands. That would not go well in the United States because more and more men are saying, you want equality or give it to you? You slap me, I'm going to slap you back. They showed a blonde woman acting up in a bar by the pool table, and she did something to some guy she didn't even know, and he turned around and went and dropped her. Only simps would say, wow, anybody that hits a woman, any simp that would tolerate a woman abusing and hitting a man, you're a simp and you need therapy. It's nice to be able to flirt. It's nice to be able to have coworkers that are female hug me and nothing happens. It's nice when I can look at another woman and say, man, you look good. And that is one thing I'm going to say. In American culture, I can tell a black woman a compliment that she will not run to HR with versus white females. Take note of that, man. Take note of that. I can tell. I told a woman the other day, she had the little cowrie shells intertwined in her hair. I said, I like your hairstyle. I love those cowrie shells. It's cute. She goes, wow, thank you. I've always loved your style. Black women respond well to appropriate comments in America. They really do. You have narcissists in their midst. You have attitude ones in their mix. You have undesirables in their mix. But there are some black women that, even at the club, one will throw her arms around me and kiss me. She goes, you are looking beautiful tonight. And I said, as are you. There's something freeing about being single and being able to flirt appropriately, hug, smell their hair, and say, man, good to see you. Marriage is a trap, folks. The Bible supports marriage. It says, he who finds a wife or a good wife obtains favor from the Lord. That is true. But if you don't find a good wife, you're going to obtain, well, a whole lot of hell from the devil and his minions through that woman. And the Bible says, do not be unequally yoked. You technically shouldn't date unbelievers. But you marry some of these Christian women in America today, you'd be better off riding a wild, raging bull and taking your chances with that. I have unfortunately suffered much at the hands of Christian women, not just wives, but Christian women I work with that talk about how spiritual they are. And they're dishonest. They don't follow workplace rules. They're not good Christian women. If they are Christian, they're a diapered, immature saint. Be very careful, men. Be very careful. I have a friend that is married to a Filipina in New England, and his marriage has been working. And that's good. But take the time to listen to the stories There's a woman, I don't even see her on the internet anymore, but I haven't looked for her. Filipina P, a narcissist. She's making so much money, and it's because guys are looking at her cute figure, and she's going to Thailand, she's going here, and she's so full of wisdom and expertise and why you should marry a Filipina. And I'd say listening to a Filipina P is a reason to not marry a Filipina. Take the time to travel through the US and meet all the Filipinas that left their husbands after they got here. And they wear the American clothing and they got the American attitude, and yeah, have fun. But I'd rather have somebody in this culture that understands the political and the news spectrum. And I can't do that with a Filipino. I can't do that with an Asian woman. Black culture in America is sad because you got a lot of obesity, a lot of ghetto behavior. You got a lot of undesirable stuff that you would not want to get hunkered down in a marriage. Even black men are getting tired of their own women. And if you do find a black woman who's sexy and attractive, she knows it and it's gone straight to her head. I have a friend who works with a couple of black women, and one of them told her recently, the bad thing about black women is that they get a little bit of power, it goes straight to their head. That's the truth. And men, you never, ever, ever, ever want to let a woman wear the pants in the relationship. I work with women that want to rule over me. They're not my boss. They're not in any position over me. But if I say something they don't agree with, they will find a way to get revenge. Women that are control freaks are to be avoided. They should be cursed to be virgins for life. Are Asian women any better? Not in 2024. I mean, 2007, 2008, when I got online, that's 16 years ago. 16, 17 years ago. Do you know how much has changed? Go look on social media. You can't even be friends with Filipinas. You can follow them because they're TikTok queens and they're Reels queens. And you got more and more Filipinas not wearing a bra and doing all of this. And 99 videos of them pulling up their shirt just to the under boob, the nipples pressing through. They get more mileage out of that. And the sorry sap men from around the globe will send them money to be slut teases on the internet. Michael will not pay for internet sex. Michael will not pay for internet porn. Michael will not pay for a prostitute. That doesn't arouse me. And I look at these videos and I shake my head. After a while, you just get tired of a self-centered narcissist parading the beauty that she didn't make herself. God gave it to her, and teasing everybody and saying, haha, you can look, but you can't have. When men get over the drunkenness of their heart on, they would delete those kind of people and say, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm human. It's a form of immaturity. It's a deity complex. But no, Asian women aren't better. We're past the bubble, folks. Years ago, they might have been because they weren't exposed to all this. But that same internet you're looking at, they're looking at. There's no more innocence, folks. But thank you for listening. This is Pacific Ocean Asia.